Hello and welcome to episode 25 of Yarn to Table. My name is Celeste and this is a podcast about my knitting life. I want to welcome old and new viewers alike, and if this is your very first time watching me, I hope that you find something here that you like and that you will hit the subscribe button down below so that you can see more from me. And if you are looking to participate more in the podcast, in our knit-alongs, giveaways, stuff like that, we do have a Ravelry group. You can find the link in the doobly-doo. You can also find it by searching Yarn to Table on Ravelry. And that's where you're going to find show notes for every episode, as well as other fun ways to participate. You can find me on Ravelry and on Instagram as Celeste Foal. And you'll find detailed project pages for everything that I talk about on this podcast if you want to know more information about them, although also never hesitate to ask me directly. From every project page, you can find links via the blog posts tab to the episodes of this podcast where I mentioned those projects in case there's something you're interested in that you'd like to see in greater detail in a past episode. So as I said, one of the things we use the Ravelry group for is knit-alongs, and today it is my great pleasure to announce winners for the Great Unravel 2017, which was an incredible knit-along that we had a joint effort between myself, Caitlin of Wool Jewel, and Taylor of Wool Needles Hands. A ton of you guys participated. It was amazing to see all of your progress, especially given that this was such a really unconventional kind of knit along where we were all doing something new, which was unraveling a sweater and repurposing the yarn. Even if you've done that before, no sweater is really exactly the same and no recycled yarn behaves exactly the same. So I think a lot of us were just jumping into the deep end together, trying something that was challenging and exciting. I saw a lot of people helping each other out on the chatter threads and giving each other suggestions for things that might work well with the yarn, and it was just really, really great. So I'm excited to announce the winners for that. Now, I have two prizes to give away, and I decided that what I really would like to do is pick one of them from the FO thread and then pick the second winner from the chatter thread. And the reason for that is because I've noticed that a lot of people who participated, including my co-hosts, were not actually able to finish their garment or their project, I should say. And the reason for that is that when working with recycled yarn, it can just be a little bit unpredictable, and sometimes it's not working for what you initially wanted it to be, and then you change projects. I think Taylor was making a garment and then she changed to a bag, and sometimes it's just not it's sort of the I think a big part of what I want to reward people for and celebrate is just jumping in and doing it and trying it, more so than necessarily producing a finished object. So I thought it would be really fun if I could give a sort of, I guess, grand prize. I mean, they're really just equal. They're just different. So I'm not even going to say that. But to give one prize to a finished object post, and to give a prize to someone who was active in the chatter thread. That way, some of you who were participating in the chatter thread and didn't necessarily get to post in the FO thread would still have an opportunity to win a prize. So I used a random number generator and I drew a winner from each thread. And the winner from the FO thread is getting this, which is a book by Vicki Howell and Adrian Armstrong, called Aware Knits. This is out of print, which is why I have a used copy of it. But again, I mean, just really continuing with that recycled, reusing sort of Earth Day theme that we started with this knit along, which started all the way back on Earth Day in April. So this is a book of patterns that are all inspired by the idea of reusing things. For example, this is a bag made out of plastic bags, that kind of thing. So this is going to be the prize for the FO thread. And the FO thread winner is, get this right, the FO thread winner is Mosalif Your name is Hel and you live in the Netherlands. So I'm flashing all of that up on the screen. If this is you, you have won Aware Knits. Please message me on Ravelry. Again, I'm Celeste Full on Ravelry. And let me know your full name and mailing address so that I can send this to you. And congratulations, thank you so much for participating, and I hope you enjoy your prize. The next prize is the pattern for the Gardener's Mitts by Yarn and Time Designs. I'm inserting a picture here so you can all see how lovely they are. And I want to thank Amber of Yarn and Time Designs once again for generously donating this prize to the podcast. And the winner of this prize was chosen, as I said, from the chatter thread. Now, anyone who posted in the chatter thread besides me was eligible for this prize, even if they had also posted in the FO thread, although I did pick from the chatter thread because I thought it would be nice to give people who hadn't finished an option to win as well. And it turns out the person who won had not posted in the FO thread. In fact, she just recently posted with her progress to let us know that she really appreciated this opportunity to make progress on this project, even though she hadn't finished it, which is exactly the kind of spirit that I was talking about that a lot of you had, and I wanted to reward. So it worked out perfectly that the random number corresponded to somebody who had participated a lot in the chatter thread. I think she posted 6 different times, but had not actually been able to finish her object. And that is AKA Mama Vic. Your name is Vicky. Yes, your name is Vicky and you are from California. So I'm going to pop all of that up down here. If this is you, please contact me on Ravelry. Again, I am Celeste Full on Ravelry. Let me know your full name and shipping. Oh no, actually, I don't need to know. I don't need to know that. I don't even need you to contact me because, yes, I do need you to contact me. Okay. What I need from you is your email address. So contact me on Ravelry with your email address and I will send you the PDF of the pattern. Okay. So congratulations to Hel and Vicky, and thank you to every single person who participated in this knit along. It was a whole lot of fun and I really, really appreciate all of you guys just being so game to something different and challenging like this. I think we all had a lot of fun with it, and we might be doing it again next year. Let me know if you would be interested in that. Today I'm drinking iced tea again, and again I am drinking a cold brew that I made just by putting loose leaf tea into a mason jar with water, shaking it up, letting it sit overnight, and then straining it, which is a really great way to make iced tea that I've been doing lately. And this is actually a tea that was sent to me by another knitting podcast host, which is my friend Andy from the 10,000 Stitches podcast. Hi, Andy. She very generously donated some of her gorgeous hand-dyed yarn a little while ago for a different knit along, and when she sent it, she sent me some of this tea from one of her local tea and coffee shops, and it's mango something. It has a bunch of pieces of fruit, and I would guess hibiscus based on the flavor and the color. And it's really, really delicious iced. So thank you, Andy. I am enjoying your tea very much. Now, before we jump into finished objects, and I do have 2 to show you, I just want to give another reminder about the knit along that is still going on. It's running through August 1st, and that is the Summer Garment Cow. I am co-hosting this with Anna of the Dunkelgrün podcast, and it has been a lot of fun so far. It's all about summer garments, those garments that sometimes get neglected because we think just about cozy sweaters all the time. And a summer garment can really be anything from a sleeveless or short-sleeved item to an item made with a lighter weight material such as cotton, silk, or linen. It's really up to you sort of what summer climate you have. I recently saw a post in the FO thread that was, I think it was someone from Scandinavia, and so she had actually knit a long sleeve sweater but in cotton because that is sort of more works better for her climate, whereas if you're living in Texas, maybe you need to make like a linen tank top. I made a sleeveless top because I'm living here in Cincinnati where it gets very hot and humid in the summer. So there are some actual rules as to what constitutes a summer garment. You know, it really has to do with either or the sleeve length or the material. So you can check all of that out in the Summer Garment Cal threads on the Ravelry group page for Yarn to Table. You can also find those in the Dunkelgrün group, and I do suggest that if you are not already watching Anna, that you check out Anna's podcast and subscribe and go ahead and post your FOs in both of our threads so that you know, you need to be watching so that you know if you've won in either of our threads. But I think that you will absolutely love Anna's podcast as well. So if you aren't already watching her, go over there and check her out. Now, we do not have a prize decided on yet for the Summer Garment Cal. There may be one, there may be several. If you are a maker of any kind, you can be someone who sells your goods, or maybe you just make them for fun and you are interested in donating, please let me know. Patterns, project bags, progress keepers, yarn, other things. I would love to hear from you if you're interested in donating a prize. So just message me on Ravelry or leave me a comment here. And now that we've talked a lot about knit-alongs, let's move on to the content. I have 2 finished objects to show you, as I mentioned. And the first is a pair of socks. Can you guess what they are? I finished Ryan's socks! Finally! Woohoo! So excited! So, these are some socks. If you've been watching along, you know that I cast these on Oscars night, which I believe was in March. And they've just never been a priority. And I will knit on them, but then they weren't really as mindless as they needed to be because I would need to start measuring his foot or trying to make sure I really wanted to do this kind of heel or whatever, because I had not knit a pair of socks that fit him well before. So I wasn't able to just sort of go on autopilot with it. But I did kind of buckle down and make it a priority for myself to finish these in the last week or so. And I did, which I'm quite proud of, to be honest. So these are Felici sock yarn, which is a self-striping sock yarn that Knit Picks makes. The colorway is Beyond the Wall. Felici is available right now, but these are from the last time they were available, this colorway. So usually it's not too hard to find on eBay and places like that though. And of course, I would imagine that Beyond the Wall means it's inspired by A Song of Ice and Fire, which we're big fans of around here. So I actually knit a good portion of one of these last week while watching the season premiere. And now they're done in time for the rest of the season. So I told him he needs to wear them every Sunday while we watch Game of Thrones. Just get nice and cozy in his socks. But yeah, he loves them. He has not worn them yet because I finished them a couple days ago. And I wanted to show them off on the podcast. Plus it's kind of hot here, so I don't know if he'll wear them until fall. But I think they worked out well. So I'll tell you the details of these one last time, and then we never have to look at them again. Yay! So I did these with 60 stitches on 2.5mm needles. I did a 1x1 twisted rib, long tail cast on. I did the ribbing for 2 stripes. Then I striped his cuff all the way down, and I put in a contrasting Fish Lips Kiss heel with Knit Picks Stroll in black, which unfortunately does not match the black stripe perfectly. Pretty upset about that, not gonna lie, but you know, we made it work. Stripes, 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 foot, 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 and then a nice little decrease on both sides, Kitchener's toe. And that's how I did it. So, they're done, you guys. Yay! Yay for small accomplishments. Okay, I have one more FO to show you, and then we can move on to works in progress. This FO, I'm gonna warn you before I hold it up, it's super, super cute, so you might like be overwhelmed by the cuteness, so just brace yourselves. Ready? Oh, look at his little hood. Oh, his little baby. It's a little baby sweater. So this is the pattern Tokyo Hoodie by Quince & Co. I did it out of Knit Picks Stroll in the colorway Honey. And I did this on size US 10 needles. This is for a friend's baby who was just born. So I did the 6-month size because I wanted it to fit him in the fall and winter. So I figure when he's 3 months, by the time it gets cold around here, you know, they can kind of like roll up the sleeves and then it'll probably fit him all the way through the winter. That's my hope. Better to be a little too large than too small with babies because they grow. The hood is a little weird right now with these. I don't know how to block a hood. If anyone knows how to block a hood properly, help me out, because so I like pinned out the body of it, and then for the hood, like I feel like to block it properly, you'd really want to go sideways, but you can't do that while you're blocking the body. So maybe I just have to block it separately. I don't know. It looks okay, but it has sort of a seam, not a seam, like a fold running down the sides. And I kind of think I should maybe just like steam block it a little bit to get it looking nicer before I give it to them. But anyway, that's that. I just love baby garments. They're really, really fun. And I talked about this last week, but I love the way that garter stitch looks next to stockinette. I just think it's so pretty. And this is a great pattern for that. The way the garter stitch extends onto the shoulders and then all the way up the hood and then trims the bottom and the cuffs. It's just really sweet. So this was knit in one piece and then pick up for the sleeves and they're knit in the round. So it was very simple construction, very easy and fast to make, and I had a good time making it. And I hope that my friends enjoy it for their new baby boy. So I have a new whip to show you, and that is a brand new pair of vanilla socks. Of course, I always have to have some vanilla socks on the needles as my on-the-go project. So when I finished Ryan's, I cast on a new pair for me. And here's the colorway. This is Fred and George from Nora George Yarns. And when it's in the skein, it's like a big section of this mustard color and then a big section of like this natural color with neon flecks. And knit up, it looks like this. I'm surprised there's not more pooling. I was a little concerned that there would be a lot of pooling because it was almost in the skein, it was almost like half and half. One color and then the other. But so far, it's been more stripy. So I don't know if that completely negates everything that I said about how pooling works, whenever it was that I talked about it. Or maybe, I need to do more thinking about this because I would have expected it to pool more given that like half the skein was mustardy and half the skein was the neon. And I don't know if that just has to do with like the size that I make my socks, or maybe it just hasn't pooled yet. I mean, I just started, so I don't know. This Progress Keeper is from Sucre Miniatures, and it came with some different Harry Potter yarn. The Harry Potter Club yarn from Homespun House in her latest, which is Make-A-Wish Harry. And this is the Happy Birthday Harry cake that Hagrid makes for him in the first book. But I thought the color worked, and it was Harry Potter, and it was new, and I loved it, so I threw it on there. These are some wild colors, man. I mean, this is the kind of thing, this is what I love about sock yarn, because I wouldn't pick something like this for a sweater, you know, or even a hat for me. But it's fun. It's fun to knit with some crazy colors sometimes, and I like to do it for socks. So because these are Friend George, I was even thinking about going even more wild and doing like some stripes on them or something. I have some leftover Pygmy Puff from a Homespun House, which is like a bright pink with some purple speckles in it. And of course, Friend George, they created the Pygmy Puff for their joke shop. So that would have been quite appropriate. But I think I decided it's just a little too much for me. It's enough to have the crazy yarn without striping in some more crazy yarn. So I think I'm just going to keep them plain. But yeah, those are living in my 9 3/4 bag, which is from Society 6. And my next whip is my Andromeda Cardigan. So this is living in my project bag that I made for myself out of a recycled duvet and sheets. And this is a pattern by Pam Allen. I've been working on for a little bit now, and I'm almost done with it. This yarn is Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles in the colorway Pine. And I think it is so stunning. I actually saw the yarn on eBay and I found a pattern to go with it because I wanted to work with the yarn so badly, because it's just so gorgeous, and pine trees are like an important symbol to me, and I just really love it. So ideally you would not knit a sweater out of singles because it's just so delicate and it tends to pill. So I'm a little concerned about how well this sweater is going to wear. Trying not to think about it too much because I just love it. But, you know, maybe I will love it and it will wear out quickly and I will learn a lesson and never do that again. Or maybe it'll not be a huge deal and it'll just be a little pilly. I don't know. I mean, like cashmere pills, but am I going to not knit a sweater out of cashmere? Like, of course I'm not. That I love cashmere. So we'll see. Maybe it's just a general best practices rule that, you know, you can kind of take or leave. But this will be my first experience with a single sweater, so I'll let you know. And what I have done this week is I have completed the first sleeve. I actually did this yesterday almost entirely. I just pretty much knit the whole day because I'm still not feeling my best. If you can't tell by my hair. So I have one more sleeve and then blocking and weaving and ends, and that's everything. Here's what the colorway looks like knit up. And once again, we have that beautiful stockinette with the garter border. That is also on the baby sweater. If you hadn't guessed, I love that. Now this is a raglan top-down sweater, knit all in one piece with then the sleeves, knit, you know, they're hanging out, live stitches. It has this amazing lapel situation where the garter stitch just gets wider and wider and wider to become these big triangles, and it gives it like a very nice swingy shape. And then there's garter stitch trim all along the bottom. And it is incredibly soft because it's made out of singles. And it's just really, really beautiful, and I cannot wait to wear it. The sleeves are 3/4 length. They come down just past my elbows. And I've tried it on and it seems to be fitting well, so I'm just really excited to finish it. I hadn't knit on it for about a week there because I had just worked so hard trying to get the body done that I was sort of like not in the mood. And then this week I was all about these other projects, and so I didn't pick it up until yesterday, and then I sat there for hours and hours and knit that whole sleeve. So Hopefully it could be done by next week. I'm not going to make any promises because I don't know what I'm going to feel like knitting on or how much knitting I'm going to get done or whatever, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised. So, whoop, left out my yarn cake. So that's that. This cake I've just now broken into. This is my 4th one, and I had 5, so I'm definitely going to have an extra. And now let's talk on the horizon, and I will tell you what I'm going to do with that extra cake. And what I'm going to do with that extra cake is knit an oracle shawl, which is a gorgeous pie shawl pattern that was designed by Kristen of Woolenvine Yarns and the Yarngasm podcast. And it's going to be released in August. It's being test knit right now. So if you haven't seen it, it is this gorgeous, you know what, let me just insert a picture. What am I doing? So it's this gorgeous pie shawl that alternates brioche with lace panels. I have heard that it is very fun to knit. I watch a couple podcasts where they are test knitting it at the moment. Squirrel Pie Productions, hi Tommy, and Katie of Inside Number 23 is also test knitting it, and they both say it's really, really fun, and I'm sure it is. It looks amazing. So I'm really excited to knit that. It's designed to be a 3-color shawl. I mean, you can change it up, but so I went shopping for some other colors to go with the pine, and I will talk about them in Stash Enhancement in 1 second. So the other things we're on the horizon are fiber related but not knitting related. One is, I think I finally have the urge to spin, you guys, which is weird because I've never been interested in that much. But I've just seen enough people like with their little drop spindles, and it just, I don't know, it's just starting to actually look fun to me, and I'm getting curious about it. So I'm thinking about maybe getting a craftsy class on the basics of spindling. I think that would get me started and maybe even as far as I need to go. So that's sort of popping around in the back of my mind. We'll see if that happens sometime soon, but that's something I'm considering. And then the other thing, as you know, is I'm starting to hand dye yarn, which is really, really exciting. And I am hoping to be sharing some of that on the podcast with you guys shortly. It's gonna be a real adventure. I've been really excited about this for a long time. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. So yeah, that's gonna be showing up at some point as some of my fun crafty goodness on here, and possibly as some prizes for giveaways and knit-alongs and that kind of thing. And then any excess that I'm not using myself or giving away, I'm probably also going to start selling. Just because, you know, yarn needs a home. It needs somebody that's gonna love it, and you know, I can't just have all the yarn for myself. That's crazy. So yeah, that's what's coming up. And now for Stash Enhancement, let me show you what I got for the Oracle. So I'm actually gonna get the pine cake out of here again so that I can show you it next to the other colors that I ordered. So I ordered 2 more Hedgehog Fiber Skinny Singles so that there will be a real uniformity to this. And I ordered them from Espace Tricot, little Merci right there, which is a yarn shop in Montreal. And I've been getting, I've ordered Hedgehog Fibers from them before for the Marley shawl. They have a really nice selection, and I like to support them because they're local. They have a podcast on YouTube as well. So anyway, this is going to be my little color story. What do you think? I think it's fun. So this one's almost glowing with the neon in the light right now. This is Pesto, and it's done on this creamy base and it's of course got all this nice neon, but it also has this more sort of teal color in there. There it is, like here, which is pretty much the base color of this, which is called Fly. And then Fly has some fun like blues and purples and stuff speckled in there, but it also has some of the neon. So they're just so beautiful together. And then I think they add something fun to the more subtle pine colorway, which of course is also based in greens and little bits of turquoise and stuff. So I think they're going to be really pretty together, and I am super excited about that shawl. So something else I wanted to talk about before Chit Chat is cast-ons for socks. Now, I was going to talk about this when I showed you these socks before, but I totally forgot. So I decided to just do a little segment on it here. These are the last two pairs of socks that I've made before, besides the ones that I just showed you. But these are the last two that I cast on, I guess I could say. And I used different cast-ons for them. This one, and I hope that this is going to focus well enough that you're going to be able to see it. I'm sorry, I know I don't have the greatest camera setup. That's just what it is for now. So this yellow one is a long tail cast on, and the blue is done with a German twisted cast on. And here's what they look like that way. So I had heard a lot about the German twisted cast on, and I wanted to try it. I heard that it looked great and that it was really, really stretchy, even stretchier than the long tail, which sounded good to me because, you know, sometimes this can be the hardest part of your sock to get on over your heel. So I did this pair with it, and I gotta say, I do think it's neater looking. I think the long tail can look a little bit messy, but there's no way it's stretchier for me. This is how much it stretches, and here's the long tail. So the long tail for me definitely stretches more. It's not by a lot. There. It's like about that much more. Now that could have something to do with me just being more comfortable with the long tail, so maybe I was holding it looser. This is my very first time to do the twisted German, so it's possible that I was, you know, holding it a little bit tighter, and that shows the discrepancy. This is still a stretchy cast on, but for me personally, if I'm just looking to make something as stretchy as possible, I'm not going to switch over to this. Now, I can see being convinced that I should switch based on the aesthetic of it. I do think that it's prettier, but it's not a huge thing. And it's slightly more complicated to do. I mean, it's the kind of thing where like I would have to look it up a few times until I had it memorized. And right now, I'm just liking being able to like whip out a vanilla sock and not thinking about that kind of thing. So like when I cast on my Fred and George sock, I just used the long tail because I just wanted to cast on a sock and I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to open up a YouTube video and, you know, then have to open up another one when I was starting the second sock. I have the Fish Lips Kiss heel memorized. I know I have the Kitchener stitch memorized for the toe. Like, I don't have to look at anything when I knit a vanilla sock right now. And so for me, that's worth more than like a slightly neater looking cuff. That might change in the future. I don't know. That's just where I'm at the moment. But I wanted to show you guys the difference and talk a little bit about that aspect of these socks. So there you have it. So if you are only interested in the knitting content, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye now. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. I hope you'll hit the thumbs up button right down there if you did. That really helps me out a lot. It helps other people find my podcast. And I will see you next week. And if you're sticking around to Chit Chat, I'm going to pull out my knitting, pull out yours if you haven't yet, and we'll have a little chit chat. So I honestly don't have a lot to talk about with Chit Chat this week. I've still been kind of getting over my sickness and not really feeling up to doing much outside of working, which has been really busy. So I don't have a lot of fun stuff to talk about, unfortunately. But I thought what might be fun is a question for you guys. And I'll tell you what spurs this question. So my husband and I have been trying to figure out the best way to organize our books. If you watched my vlog back in the winter, then you will have seen at least his bookshelf, which we had recently organized, his bookshelves, I should say. Well, bookcases. It's 2 bookcases. Anyway, we had organized that, and it was starting to get out of control again, and he has just been buying a lot of books and reading a lot of books, but buying them at least as fast as he can read them. And we've just been struggling to figure out what we are going to do with all of these books. And we've talked about combining our shelves, which we don't really want to do. Like, there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of titles that we sort of belong to both of us because we both read them or whatever. But it's also kind of nice for each of us to have our separate bookcases that sort of tell the story of our own tastes. And as soon as you combine them, it's like you lose the sort of like self-expressive element, I guess, of displaying all of your books and showing like, these are my books. It becomes, these are our books, which is also neat. It's its own thing, but it's just like a difference. So we've just been trying to figure out, because we don't have one really great place where we can just fit all of our bookcases together. We have 2 upstairs in this room, which is my office, and we have 2 downstairs in the family room, which are his, and then we have another bookcase of mine in the dining room. And, you know, for me, I really like for the bookcases to not be just completely packed wall to wall. I like for them to have a bit of a, you know, display to them where you can put some different things on the shelves and kind of put some books on their sides and make everything look really pretty. And so, like, my bookcase that I have in the dining room is very much that kind of display. It's really well styled, I guess, and I right now we're just struggling because we have so many of his books that are like needing another home, and I don't want to sacrifice my space or the way that they've been styled. And we've talked about combining them, and it's kind of stressing me out, to be honest, and just trying to figure out how we want to do this. Now, we are people who, like, we listen to audiobooks too. We read ebooks sometimes, me more than him. And we certainly don't keep every book that we read. We don't own every book that we read. Sometimes we read from the library. And we definitely don't keep every book that we read. We resell a lot of our books or donate them to the library or put them in a little free library by our house, or, you know, let friends borrow them, like, kind of permanently or whatever. The only books that we keep are books that are really special to us. Those are the ones that we want to display. But it's still gotten to the point where it's, you know, like a few hundred, several hundred books. And so I'm wondering, how do you do this in your life? Assuming that you guys, I would imagine a lot of you guys might be big readers like me because you're knitters, and I feel like there are some interests that tend to go together. We tend to be the kind of like introverted people, and we like cats and we like books. Now, maybe not all of us, but I think there's probably a fair amount of crossover there. So if you guys are big readers, I would especially be interested to know people who live with other people, whether you combine all of your books, and how that process worked for you. Like, if you had books and your husband had books and then you got together and put them together. Or are you somebody who at a certain point said, I just can't have paper books anymore. I love reading, but I'm just going to be an ebook person, and you just don't display them at all. Like, I'd really like to know what you do. I'd be open to any advice and suggestions about what I'm doing. But I also, even if you feel like what you do isn't relevant, I just want to hear it because I'm curious. So let me know if you are still watching at this point. Let me know in the comments here on YouTube or on the show notes page on Ravelry. How do you display your books? How do you choose which books to keep? Do you like your bookshelves to just be packed, or do you like to sort of style them? Do you combine your your books with your other people in your household, or do you like to keep them separate? And do you keep all of your bookcases in one section of your house, or have you sort of had to find different little nooks and crannies throughout the house to keep bookcases? And how has this changed throughout your life when you've lived in different places? I'd be really, really curious to hear all of that. I think it'll just be interesting, and I also think it'll help me and Ryan to figure out our kind of current quagmire of books that we are in. So yeah, let me know. And with that, I guess that can end our little chit chat section. Sorry I don't have more to share with you guys this week, but you know, some weeks are full of excitement and others are just pretty ordinary, and that's sort of what I've been having this last week. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, remember to click the thumbs up down there to help me out, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching.